I'm so excited to be here with you, and thank you for coming back to my channel. Okay, so I was asked about envious people. How do I handle people who are envious? Okay, so I had a very interesting life. Okay, so I've served my country. I'm a combat veteran. I've worked in media. I have also, you know, uh, owned a business in the spa industry and a product line. I've been divorced twice. So I have a very eclectic background. And the only thing I could tell you is when you're dealing with envious people, you want to fly and be as far away from those folks as possible, those individuals, because they are unhealed individuals who are just projecting so much of their own hate and fear on your progress. So, because you've done more than they have done, it's just their intimidation factor is just at an all-time high, and they feel threatened by you. They feel threatened by your knowledge. They feel threatened by your energy. They feel threatened by your lifestyle. They feel threatened by your success, because you are definitely a reminder of what they have not accomplished in their lives because they were focused on the wrong things. Okay, that's not your problem. So today I'm going to just tell you how to deal with them. Number one is get rid of them. The reason why is because you want to protect your peace at all cost. A person who is envious is jealousy is different from envious people. Envious people, they don't like what you have, and they want you to collapse what you have because they don't want you to have anything above what they have. That's the difference. A jealous person is like, okay, say if you have a husband or a wife, they start talking to somebody, you might start be like, okay, that feels kind of uncomfortable. So that's different. So we get those two concepts and those definitions mixed up for those who, need to look up that definition. Okay. Envious people are actually more dangerous and harmful because depending on their level of insecurity, if they start projecting on you beyond a certain, you could be envious of somebody and want what they want. So if somebody has a Bentley, you might be like, oh, I like that Bentley. Okay, me, I don't experience that emotion of enviousness because I am always excited about people who have more. And the reason why is because the way I understand life and the way I understand that, and I don't want to go over degrees and all of the things I have because I will definitely overwhelm you. And I've had people that were so envious. They were like, it just shows that you can learn. But it's like I love education. So I have so many certifications and degrees. And that's not a bragging, right? That's just what I've accomplished in a authentic manner. Realistically, I don't have ego and pride or anything of that sitting behind that. It's just that I am a definitely life learner and I get bored. So my mind needs to actually elevate and always learn. I'm just that type of individual, but not everyone is like that. So when you get an envious person always wants to downplay what you have because they're just so angry at themselves that they didn't try hard enough in life, or they didn't do the right things to get them there, or they may not feel like they are smart enough to have what you have. So their thing is to project that on you. It makes them more dangerous if they're envious because they use their actions as a danger. Example, I had an individual, people who know me closely already know this individual stalked somebody who was very toxic to me, found their number, called them, and lied about my threat to harm them. Now, this person was went through the IRS's crime database. They're one of the highest criminals in a state. Okay, I'm not going to name that person because we know about defamation. This is not defaming a person, but this is where people can try to sue. So you want to protect yourself. So this channel, Creative Perspectives with Brandy or by Brandy, is definitely for entertainment purposes only. And that's why most people say that, entertainment purposes only. Okay. Now it's not fictional, it's non-fictional, but it's just a way to protect yourself for those who do not know that. Okay. So if you have a YouTube channel, you want to say entertainment purposes only, even when you are telling a real story and you never want to throw out an individual's name. Moving on. An envious person, they really definitely hate your guts. For instance, I went to Six Flags. I entered into a contest. They called me and they said, "Hey, I need you to come, and you've been selected to participate in winning a trip." And I could pick the trip that I wanted. Now, I am in a state that I, it's kind of funny because I've learned the culture of different states are actually different. When people migrate to certain states, so in Texas, people migrate from here. So those are people that, well, I won't say those as if it's all, but I'm not from here, just put it that way. So I'm used to women being empowered and educated at a high level. Here, it's different. It's like you are a complete threat if you have your education, especially if you are ethnic like me and you are dealing with the older crowd who have the old traditional slave, post-slave mentality, and the men who operate at a lower I don't want to say frequency because I've heard that before, but they're lower frequency driven. Not saying that they're beneath me and where I came from. It's just every place is different. So people's belief structures tend to be different. And some people honor education, they honor prosperity. And then some places do not honor that. They actually feel like it's a threat, like you are a complete threat. So anyway, moving forward, I won this contest, and one of the old ladies who are they're extremely old, they brought in their prejudicial views, and one of their views was, okay, what do you do and all this XYZ, you know? So when I was going over it, instead of them embracing all of my life experiences, they actually took it as a complete threat to their existence based on color. Like, because I am a certain color, you shouldn't be doing all of this stuff based on what I was taught by my ancestors. And you get what I'm saying? So anyway, moving forward, I don't tolerate that stuff. So I handled that individual in a very eloquent way. And because, you know what education does, it forces you to pull past your own perspectives. And it also teaches you a few things about social, economic, and emotional and spiritual development, depending on what you've taken, when you were in college. So, and I'm not saying college because I've done it quite a bit. I'm one of those, I'm a life learner, like I told you. So anyway, this individual, it was a complete threat. So they taught me the power of remembering what envy looks like. Envy is when you are accomplished, and because somebody was raised a certain way, they don't feel like you should have what you have. You shouldn't speak the way you should speak. You should not have accomplished all of that. Who are you? So I want to teach you exactly how to deal with those folks. Number one, you don't. Number two, you do not entertain them. So what I just said is, hey, I'm retired. And I just kept explaining that over and over again. Every question that was brought to you, you have to teach people who are falsely entitled to know that there is no power that they hold. So you have no right to ask me that, so I don't have to answer it. That's how you handle people like that. Okay? So if you want to know, I'm retired. If every time they ask you a question, well, how XYZ? Retired. Just do not fall into the lines of questioning because they don't deserve that answer. So I was able to exercise that in front of my son. So my son saw me in action on that. And then I explained everything at the end. That's the power of taking some heavy communication classes, public speaking classes, cultural classes, so you could be well aware of different cultures and how they respond. And in America, people could tend to have some very prejudicial views depending on where you live. So you cannot fall into that trap. And then even sometimes your own culture could feel the same way because of what they were conditioned to believe about themselves. So for you, if you are dealing with somebody that feels like, well, you shouldn't have this and you shouldn't have that, and who are you, and you're a woman, and all this other stuff, do not entertain those folks. That's the number one issue that you should be facing. Don't entertain them. You owe nobody an explanation. They are not your master. They are not your they have nothing to do with you and how you have chosen to live your life. Now, where I come from, we're very progressive, so I would not experience that where I came from. Okay. But you have some people where they feel so threatened and they feel like, well, you're doing better. And according to the history and the historical context of this country, you should not be doing as good as you are. You are, and then just stop it down. Okay. So I just want you to understand, you don't owe anybody anything. You don't have to answer any questions, period. And it's unfortunate that some people, depending on where they're from, they're conditioned to believe that they should be answering people's questions who are undeserving of that. The only master in our lives is God, and whatever religious structure you believe in, but it's definitely not a person. Okay. So if you want to deal with envy, number one, understand where it's coming from. This person was the woman that I spoke to was so insecure that she went beyond the questions that she was supposed to be asking me, which was just, okay, what's your income level? And then she was supposed to stop there. But she was so angry at my explanations that she went above and beyond her job. And you do not, under any circumstances, have to answer that. You don't have to entertain that. And I taught that lesson. You don't. So if somebody asks you something, you do not have to respond. You do not have to engage in that conversation. You can just literally keep your mouth shut. Sometimes silence is the best killer of some people. But with this individual, they were going above and beyond what I have ever experienced in my lifetime, because I'm used to progressive people who have their college education, people who love Christ, people who actually love people, they're not harboring and like, oh my gosh, but we have all been through that experience where you have been placed in a situation where there are individuals where they are so insecure about who they are. And you are a reminder, your progress is a reminder of what they didn't do. So they're so angry with you for your prosperity and your contributions, okay, to where they're angry about that. So either they want to do some type of control, and or they just want to take some like jabs at you or heavy jabs at you. Okay, and that's what you have to be aware of. Never take anything personal. I always teach my son, never take anything personal. Don't do it, because it's a projection of their emotional state and their social development and their emotional development. Some people are undeveloped. It does not matter their age. They keep cycling through the same thing. So don't entertain where they are in their own lives. The only thing you could do is you exercise the love of God. Okay? Because that's the difference between how you act and how they act. And I'm sorry, I'm sweaty. It's hot here. Okay. Even with my AC on, it's just humid. So you be you. You let them be them. But at the end of the day, you exercise love and you teach people. Remember, you are a lesson or a blessing to someone. Okay. So I was a lesson to her, but I was also a blessing because I didn't show her, okay, anger, any emotions like that. We know how it is sometimes when you know what people are all about, if they're prejudiced, if they have some racial and issues sitting inside of them somehow, some way, you know how that is. Or if they're sexist, you know how that is. Okay. So you don't have to entertain people like that. That's what I'm trying to teach people. You know, you don't have to entertain it. You are in control of your own mind, body, soul, spirit, and your physical being. Okay. And you don't have to be ugly with a person who tries to be ugly with you, meaning you don't have to act compatible with their idiocracies, and you don't have to act compatible with the way they see themselves and how they project it onto you. So I want you to stay blessed. Remember, pray for your enemies. Do not compete with your enemies. You pray for them, okay? And you are going to learn. Sometimes it could be people you know. It definitely can. And sometimes it could be family friends. You can have that one friend where you've been sitting around for years and you're like, "Oh my God, I thought they had my back." And then all it is competition. Okay? But sometimes it's because they have real issues sitting behind themselves. And because they have genuine issues with whatever is happening in their own lives, they may be trying to exude or trying to expose their competition in a indirect way. Do not fear that, and do not let that let you down. I know a lot of people, they cry about, oh my God, that's my best friend, or that's my family member, or that's no, anyone who is not loving towards you, do not entertain them. Period. It does not matter who they are. We have a tendency in life to spend too much time with people who have no respect, who don't respect, and then they play those emotional or mental type of games with you. Do not allow that to happen to you to where you're like, but this is this, and you're going according to labels. When people don't like you, it does not matter who they are. If they show you who they are, there's no need for you to investigate, to participate any further than that, because all you're doing is harming yourself. Okay. And I want you to be healthy, form those healthy connections. That's what this channel is all about, identification and doing healthy connections, no matter what the cost is. Okay. Some people are so used to a group mentality where they have been trained, they have been taught by their families, their friends, and they have engaged for so many years with people who have the group strategy. Okay. And a lot of times that's self-serving. Okay. So if you make the money in the family, it's going to be self-serving for everybody else around you because they're only looking at the money and how you can. So we are here to remove the distractions. And sometimes if a person's envious can cause somebody to set you on fire. Enviousness can cause somebody to cause you harm. Envious can cause a lot of things. I actually experienced this. I volunteer, and there was this guy, he was in this group, and he was just rolling his eyes and all of that. And I'm like, I'm 43 years old. So I already know the game. I've had my fair experiences of people who have, I don't like to label people. So I don't want to say jealous, envious, all this other stuff, but I've had my fair share, and you have to. So, oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm on my phone. So, okay. So anyway, you've had your fair share too of individuals who they project all of that or whatever is happening in their lives onto you in hopes of a response from you. So what I am hoping you would do not feed into it. Keep being yourself. Remove the distractions, because remember, where God is, the devil is as well. So you want to remove those distractions from your life so you can actually focus on your purpose here on earth before you die. Life is so short. It really is short. So you definitely want to remove the distractions. And being envious is very dangerous. Okay. There's minor enviousness, and then there's people who take it to the extreme. We all saw the envious um, destruction that happened in Mexico with the girl. Her friends were so jealous of the fact that she had a business and all of that. So they waited to take her to Mexico, and then they went crazy. So we do not want that for you. So take it seriously. Remember, jealousy is different. Jealousy is the emotion that says, hey, I'm jealous because you are talking to this individual. It's normally in relationships. Okay, that may be a little healthy, but when people start acting that out, then they're crossing into something else, into something dangerous. Okay, so envious people, they tend to cross that boundary of, I don't want you to have what you have. I want to harm you for having what you have. Whether they try to bring on frivolous lawsuits, whether they try to tarnish your name, whether they bring up lies, it doesn't matter. The whole point is it doesn't matter. They'll do anything and everything. Stay prayed up. Me and this lady in my community, we had a discussion because we both have a similar cross around our neck. And I told her, you know what, when somebody that has that demonic nature approaches, for some reason, I grab my cross and I literally lift it out and then I start rubbing on that cross. And I told her, and she said, I do too. So I was like, oh, okay. So just to let you know, your intuition, if you don't have crosses, because not everybody's Christians, not everybody, but you have that intuition that God gave us, whether you want to believe or not. And when your intuition says that somebody's not right and they're not safe, you need to adhere to that, because there are grave consequences that could come your way. And you can definitely place yourself in a really bad circumstance if you entertain that. See, the purpose of enviousness: don't entertain a person that's envious of you. And you will know, because that person will be telling you how somebody else talked about you. And if you're my age category, I am 43 years old to be exact, although I don't look like it. I get carded all the time, so I get it. But my life experience is very robust. So from traveling to everything. So, but when you experience envious people, they are the most dangerous. Like I said at the start of this video, I had an individual call somebody that was my ex, tell them that I was trying to murder that person. That's how far and dangerous enviousness can be. But no matter what happens, some people know who you are. So it doesn't matter what a criminal-minded, envious person says. A person who knows you, they know. So it's like they don't take them seriously at all. But that's a story of enviousness. I've had so many more. But I don't want to overwhelm you with that. And I just want you to watch who you have in your energy, watch their emotional state with you, watch their spiritual being. They can smile with you, they can have fun with you. But when you are progressing in life, they will let you know that's unacceptable in their eyes, whether they roll their eyes, whether they start spreading lies about you. And if a person spreads lies about you, you don't need to investigate. Trust me, because people who know you, they know you. So they could defend you. And or if they do not know you well, do not run from that. Okay. You stay there and you show people who you are. But if it's an envious person that you are working with or you have contact with, or that's going to be in your life every day, do not stay in that environment. It's not about running from the environment. It's just about delivering your purpose in life. And you can't deliver your purpose and you can't live out your purpose if you are distracted by someone who actually wants to cause harm to you. Whether they lie with their snake tongue, whether they get with other people who don't like you to gather a group to try to cause harm because they are just that mad of who you are. Some people just cannot handle your successes. They cannot handle how God made you. They cannot handle the love you bring. They cannot handle your light. Okay. So, but not everybody's like that, so they could see, people who are well educated and or who have had life experiences and they are not demonic in that, they could be able to see that a person is full of crap and they'll call it out or they'll start defending you in ways you have never understood yourself to be defended. Okay. So you allow God to handle those battles. You just keep being you keep making your plans for your life, and you keep charging forward. Do not allow your mental state, your spiritual state, under any circumstances to entertain that, because all it does is it slows you down from progressing in the ways that you need to progress to be able to bless others. We are here to bless others, literally. We are not here for ourselves. Our days are cut short. We're temporaries on this earth, okay? But the mission stands. Our mission is to help others, okay? And it doesn't matter. Some people, they pride themselves in joining all these organizations that help people, but in their hearts, they're dark. In their minds, they're dark. The lady I talked to, she was talking to me about, oh, I volunteer at, a cancer research place. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel really, really bad. And it actually made me go into prayer. A person like that with a heart and a mind that is very prejudiced and demonic, which that is demonic because you don't like people based on what their cultural state is. You are a dangerous person. And I'm like, you're dealing with all of these individuals. So if they're culturally not a certain color, are you treating them differently? And they are suffering the same pains as another culture. And we know how it rolls in America. Okay. This is the number one country that acts this way. Okay. But it made me question this older woman, of what her position was. And remember, anybody can be in any position, whether it is a charity, whether it is a work situation, it doesn't matter. Who they are on the inside never changes. And it's what's in their mind and what's in their heart. So I never judge people if they say, oh, I'm part of this charity and that charity, or I work here, or I help people here. Yeah, but who are you helping? Is it for everybody, or is it just for your personal agenda because you are secretly having hateful thoughts based on a person's culture? So I just want you to understand that envious people, they go a long way. Okay. So she learned a lesson. She learned a lesson. And it was just, I had a very interesting talk because I love love. Okay. Anything, love really does conquer all, because people can't compete with love. If you're not a hateful person and they cannot come at you a certain way. Okay. Because you could call it out, but you also have to be weaponized in your own way, in a healthy way. Okay. And I use the power of God. I use the power of prayer. I use the power of my Christianity. And that's how that works for me. But no matter what your situation is, no matter what you believe in, don't entertain that. Okay. And you have to find what works for you. Okay. I am very heavy on mindfulness. Mindfulness is just understanding who you are, where your tolerance levels are, your boundaries, and how you can impact a situation as well. Okay. I volunteer. I don't really have the time to volunteer. And I've learned, even in that situation, there's some really backwards thinking for certain individuals, not for all. But I've met some people where I can't tolerate talking to them for 2 seconds. It drives my brain crazy because I'm like, people really think that way, and we're in 2023, and it's like, and sometimes you have people that are downgrading where you've been. And we all know if we worked hard, whether it's education or business, we know what that looks like. We know what the sacrifices take. Okay. But some people don't get that. So they want to downplay. Well, yeah, you did this and this and this. This is no big deal. We're not bragging about what we did. It's just our life experience. Okay. And it's just different from yours. And you shouldn't be threatened by that. Just I'm not threatened by yours, and I'm not judging yours, and you're not judging mine. But some people have it differently implanted in their brain. Well, women are supposed to be a certain way, dainty and stupid. And I'm like, oh, which planet did you come from? Ah, that's that new alien perspective. So don't entertain people. I just want you to know that it will be a waste of your time. It will be a waste of your process. The best thing you can do is you pray for a person with a mind that does not align with yours. And that's only if it is, if it's integrity driven. Because some people have a bad mind based off of how they were raised. Okay, so it's all they saw. So you have to have compassion for people like that, but it does not mean you need to stand around them for what they believe. Excuse me. One second. One second. Ooh, sorry about that. I don't know what something got in my throat. Sorry. One more time. Whew. A little bit more water. Sorry. Ooh. But you definitely don't want to entertain that. Anything that negatively impacts your life, you don't want to hold on to that. You don't want to examine it. You don't want to have your mind invested in it. And the reason why is because you have bigger things to handle. Everybody has a purpose, and it's different from a different individual. So your purpose might be a certain way. Okay. When I was dealing with this lady, or your purpose might have a different outcome, and you have to find that. You have different things. Like my son, he wants to be a pilot. I'm not a pilot. I really don't. I've flown before. I've been taken up in private plane before. It's, to me, it's not a big deal. Okay, it's the sky, and you could go from point A to point B. That's how simple as I think of it. So it's not a big deal. But for people with that's their passion, that's their life's purpose, that's a big deal to them. Okay. But when you're dealing with people who are envious, you have to be careful, because sometimes it could be your own family members, your friends, all of that. They don't want you to accelerate to a certain level. Or if you have had traumatic events in the past, you were their best friend because it looks like you were stagnant according to them. Now, in your eyes, you're having your own human experience. Okay. Which you are supposed to have, because that's what's going to shape you to be able to help someone else. So don't get it twisted. Just because you have a purpose in life does not mean that you're not going to go through something that's going to be able to help you help another individual. Okay. And that's the part you have to realize. I've met people who have been raped, who have been, I am a victim of that too. Only twice in my life, when I was 17 by an ex-boyfriend, and then also when I was in my 30s. Okay. So I understand that. But you have a purpose no matter what has gone on in your life. And anything that moves you out of that purpose, or that distracts you from that purpose, it's your job to remove it. So do not harbor on what has been done to you in any way, shape, or form. Do not do that to yourself, because you have a bigger job in God's eyes that will change the world. And I mean that. It would change the world. Okay. So that's the part you need to discover. So anybody who brings any unnecessary envy into your life, get rid of them, because you need to focus on your healing, for one, if you need to heal. And then number two is going to be, hold on, somebody is calling me on, because I have a do not disturb on. It's not showing me, but it is definitely, I don't know if you can hear it. But if not, I'm going to keep pushing forward. You have a purpose, and everything that has happened in your life has prepared you for that purpose. You're going to be helping somebody else that has gone through what you have gone through. You're going to be helping other individuals who have overcome. You are overcomer, possibly, to where now you can help someone else that has been through what you have been through. Okay. And then you have to, and never assume. Okay. The number one thing I see with people is they assume what another person is thinking. Don't do that to yourself either. Let people expose what their message is. If they're not, it's a cowardly expression, and that's none of your business. How they feel and what they think about you is none of your business. Your only job is to definitely stay focused on your purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is, look at everything you have gone through and everything you have overcome, and sometimes you're in the process of healing from the things that you overcome. But that's what God has designated for you, because you are going to lay a testimony on someone else's life that will change their life for the better. And that's what you're supposed to do. So don't run from what has happened, bad or good, in your life. Embrace it. And then you need to remove people that shows envy, who show envy that's beyond a certain point. Okay, because people could be envious at a lower level, and then some people could go out there and start hurting you, trying to sue you, trying to break things that belong to you, because they're extreme on that envy. Okay. They're extreme on that envy, and those are the ones that are most dangerous. So you don't want to play with that. You don't want to think, oh, I keep my enemies closer. No, you don't. You get rid of those folks. Okay. Having somebody that you got to constantly watch and think about, that's dangerous for you, because you need to be focusing on what God has put you here for. And sometimes you may not know, but if you go and you jot down, and this is what I want you to do, I want you to jot down everything you have gone through. And after you jot it down, I want you to also look at the trend. Okay. If you have education sitting behind you, okay. Some people have gone to college, some people have done trade school, some people just work in a certain industry that they've been in for a year or years that they love. Look at it all, write it down on paper. And sometimes that could be your guide on where you need to be, where you need to start. You could offer classes to people based on your experience. Okay, not everybody is going to resonate with your method, but they could definitely listen, and they can learn, and they can also see, okay, is this a good fit for me? Is it not? And they might find somewhere else, and that's okay too, because remember, your job is to help people. It's not to judge yourself based on how many people like you or how many people love you. That's not your business. Your job is to just deliver the messages before your time is up on this earth. Once we are gone, we are gone. Okay? We can be spiritual, and we could think, okay, we move on with God. We become angels if we make it into heaven. Okay? But everybody's belief structure is so different. Okay. And that's okay too. But just remember, our job is to help someone else. So, another thing, I went to church this past weekend, and our pastor talked about teens, having grace pretty much on teens, because we judge them, but we're not helping them. You get what I'm saying? So, instead of judging them, invite them to come out. Some people are going through some stuff that is very real. Their mothers or their fathers could be having financial shortages. that come with having a child. Now, some people laugh at that. Oh, I could provide for my own family, so I don't care about somebody that's struggling. Okay. And that's shame on them when they die. Okay. So don't worry about that. While you're living, you shouldn't be judging kids. Hold up. I'm getting a notification. One second. My phone is low. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me. Okay. So anyway, I had to put my charger in my phone. It's telling me I'm low. I don't want to cut off on you. But you want to be in a place where you can help individuals. You cannot help people when you're too busy judging. And some people, even if they're victims of something, they could still be judging. Well, this person should have did this. I think they should have done this, and this would have been acceptable if they'd done this. You're not a God. You do not run another person's life. You need to fall back off of that, what you think and how you feel for somebody else's life, and apply it just to yourself. Okay? Think about how you can help your own circumstances and how you could have done something different, but you cannot judge other folks. Okay, I've met so many people, they spend a lifetime worrying about people who will never suffer what they're suffering. Okay, so and they hurt themselves, whether it's through alcohol and drugs, to make their point, and it doesn't make a point, it just hurts you further. And so I just want you to understand, heal. Stay away from people who show envy. It doesn't matter how small. Small could turn into big if you are a winner. Okay. For instance, just, example, you could have friends that you've had since high school. You could be the smartest one in a group. They could be pissed off at how smart you are and start, if you smoke weed or something in a state that's legal, they can start putting stuff in your drugs to mess up your mind. Okay. And then by the time you get to it, you're all messed up. You get what I'm saying? So people are that hateful, and they can be that hateful. So you don't want to take part in anyone who who feels the need to cause harm to you in any way, shape, or form. And some people, God bless their hearts, because they've had tragedies in their lives and they're so confused about their social and emotional development, and they haven't developed in those areas. Sometimes trauma could feel normal for them. And my heart definitely goes out. And I'm just telling you, hey, when you get off of here, you say a prayer for people like that, because that's not normal. They really genuinely deserve better. Okay. So we need to do better too. We need to get out of our little corners and say, okay, we're not going to entertain somebody that's envious and jealous, because sometimes it can be your friends. They could be like, okay, you was cool when you weren't doing much. But now if they're facing something and they're the type that where they always want to look like they're the alpha or the best one in the group, you got to be careful with people like that too, where it's more about the shallow circumstances. Like, okay, I got to look better. I got to have this and I got to have that to compete and blah, blah, blah. And then I am the alpha. I am the top dog. And they want to control everybody or anything, everyone in their environment to keep that fraudulent lie up. You got to be careful. Okay. You want authenticity. Sorry. It's pretty late here where I'm at, but you want authenticity when people can actually share with a person. You don't want domination. You want people to share equally. And if they can't do that, you got to get out of that environment. I'm sorry. And if you don't know how to do that, there are so many online courses you could take to do better and become better as an individual, far as self-improvement, self-development. Okay. Not everybody has families that are into them. Even as children, you can have two parents that are business folks, and they don't have the time to invest into you that you need in order to explore what you become at an early age. And then you have some parents, because some people think money changes things. It doesn't. Sometimes you could be impoverished and you can have a better experience as far as your emotional and your social and your spiritual development. So we want to also remove the our ability and our nature of just judging. Okay, well, he has this and he has that, so that means he's better. No, they're not. Sometimes they're going through the most. So stop that and just understand nobody's above you, nobody's beneath you, but you do not harm another person's path by trying to downplay their accomplishments, because when it's your turn, trust me, you want to be celebrated for what you have accomplished, no matter how small or how big it is. Everybody is so different. Some people just want to be great readers, great writers, and it's something that they didn't have the support of when they were younger. For some people, their families are well polished, they're high in academics. However, they're not good with how they actually treat their children. Okay. So everybody has a shortcoming that they grew up with. Forgive your caregivers, forgive yourself if you need to. And then you start from day one. And day one tells you, what's my purpose? How can I figure it out? And I can tell you that by you remove your distractions. Anybody who is a distraction, I don't care if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, it doesn't matter, because we're not here to serve them. We are definitely here to serve God's purpose. And sometimes you could get the wrong spouse, you could get the wrong boyfriend or girlfriend, and it can derail who you're supposed to be on this earth. Okay? Our time is short. Like I tell you, 70 years here is short. 80 years is short. 100 years is short. Okay? Some people dying in their 20s, 30s, 50, in their teens. It's short. We don't have time to waste with individuals who they're choosing their side. If an envious person is choosing the side they want to be on, they want to be in that energy of hating other people because it makes them feel good. Okay. But that's not your business. Okay. Like I tell people, if anybody comes to you, and I'm so thankful that I was able to be a stepmom to one kid, because he repeated something I was telling my son. I was like, oh my God, I love my stepson so much because he repeated exactly what I said. Hurt people, try to hurt people. Do not allow them to project their pain onto you or their lack, what they feel is lack. Because remember, everybody's different. Your lack is going to feel different than somebody else's lack. Okay. You might want to lose 5 pounds and you might feel like, oh, I didn't reach it, so I have lack. And then you start feeling a certain way. Okay. So everybody has something different that is considered a lack in their life, but do not project that on somebody else that's thin. So if you're trying to lose 5 pounds and you see somebody that's little, don't hurt that person. Do not project on that person, okay? Because there's so many other factors. There's so many genetic factors that play into that. Is their eating habits, and it's still the old school saying. Also, I'm a weight loss specialist and a certified nutritional coach. So don't try to be hurting people because you see them a certain way. Only focus on making yourself a better individual, whatever that looks like for you. So if you say, hey, I want to lose some pounds, you could do that. If you want to better your attitude, you can do that. If you want to sever ties with certain people, you need to work on that. Okay, because it's not hard when you grow up with certain people, especially those who have been in toxic family environments their entire life. And then they're like, oh, I gotta stay because no, you don't have to stay. You need to set your objectives for your life. And if you have children, it's not just about you, it's about your children as well. So if you have to leave and uproot, you have to do what you have to do. You can't go by what other people say. It's just like those. And I know a lot of people had kids. And when you had a kid, everybody was talking about how they're going to be there for you. And then on Saturday and Friday or Saturday night, we're like, oh, yeah, I want to go out with my spouse or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. They canceled on you. Okay. So we've been there. So nothing is solid. But what you want to do is you definitely want to focus on your life. Okay. And remove anything that will not be compatible with where your life goes. And sometimes you may not know what your objective or your life path is, or God's purpose in your life, but you have to remove the distractions to start hearing what it should be. And you can't do that if you're cluttered with all these thoughts about what somebody has done, when they're envious. And this is all about envy, because trust me, jealousy is not your problem. Your problem is envious people. That's when they start doing stuff like, I want to try to hurt this person so bad because my life sucks, or, and it doesn't matter. It could be an ex-spouse, it could be an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, ex-husband. It does not matter. Envy is a whole different ball game. That's the action of trying to harm somebody because you don't want them to have what they have, because you don't think they should have it. Okay. And that could be based on racial biases. It could be based on sexism. It could be based on just pure insecurities. It could be based on a projection of a person thinking they could have done more because you are their reminder that they didn't. Okay. So it just depends. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up. It's been 51 minutes and 12 seconds right now. So thank you. Like, share, subscribe. I am going to try to be on here more often. I am just trying to finish up some more things. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for hanging in there, and God bless you. Okay. And remember, God is love. If you don't believe in God, it's okay. I'm not one of those that judge different people. I'm also a Libra. So Libras, we have a tendency, we want to be fair. We like integrity, all of those things. So people who don't align with integrity and they start lying, we don't always got to point them out. We recognize it in you and we don't want to deal with you. So that's as fast as that happens. We're intellectual signs for sure. We're learners, we're lovers. Okay. So, and God bless you. Have a great rest of your night. It is late where I am. And I hope there is an impact on the message. And if you're going through something, just know you are not alone. You're not the only one. Okay. And I'm going to do another video right behind this about people who feel like they're alone, but they're in marriages. Love you, because I've never done that too. Bye.